How is it so common for people on internet to talk about a 100K salary? I've seen people on Reddit talk about things like 300K a year. So is there something I'm missing, or are there that much people that are just, well, rich? A mix of salaries are higher in the US. Also, when we compare, we tend to use pre-tax salaries. Other countries don't. And also demographically, the type of people who post on Reddit tend to be in those well-paying jobs. Going by Google, $100,000 as top 5% in the US. So 1 in 20. Then add up demographics, etc. It's not super common, but also not terribly uncommon either. That's a salary of an engineer or a doctor. Generally true here. Lot of engineers or software engineers etc. on Reddit, relative to generic population, though. I think it's just some sort of selection bias. People who are only making 30K don't post their salaries much, but if you are making 100+K posting, it seems to be NBD. OBV, there's your humble bragging situation as well. Insert meme. You guys are getting paid? I am an American and I've lived in Europe, UK and Germany. American salaries are generally higher than in Europe. However, these higher salaries are more or less intended to offset things like healthcare premiums, childcare, school, and a multitude of other things Europeans would have covered through taxes. In my field, engineering, I make $170,000 per year in Seattle, which is a pretty HCOL area. I was offered an equivalent job in Munich, Germany for 110,000 euros per year. When I did the math to take into account all expenses and adjust for call, it was nearly equivalent. It would have been an equivalent couple thousand pay cut. However, my top-of-line pay is still higher in America, and at the end of the day I'm better off in the States. But that's because upper-middle-class income is generally better in America than Europe. But if you are middle class or lower, you would be better off in Europe. Do note that this is my own personal experience, and there are probably better macro-level sources out there. It depends on where you live here. The US is massive with a ton of variance. I'm in CA and my mortgage alone is $33,000 per year for my 900 SQFT flat in the outskirts of a metro area, where I still commute 45 minutes to work one way. Jobs pay higher here, but cost of living is even more. In the state I live in, you would apply for food stamps at $19,000 a year. The average salary for a doctor in the US is $313,000. The average salary for a lawyer in the US is $126,000. A lot of Redditors are probably software engineers, and 100K is a common starting salary for software engineers at large companies like Google. 2 parts. 1. It's the internet. People lie for fake internet points and validation too. Marika is big and living expenses can vary drastically. 150K in downtown New York might buy you a cardboard box, versus in Oklahoma you would be a super millionaire with a double mansion. US citizen here, who has worked for 2 European companies, and it's true that salary expectations are simply different. So even though these companies operate in the US and have all American employees, their salary scale is often a bit lower. One manager confided that Americans just seemed greedy. He hated that he had to pay a mid-level employee in the US more than his senior directors in Europe. That said, I really enjoyed working at both of those European companies. They had above-market generous benefits and just felt like better corporate citizens in general. Lots of community charity programs, and August was awesome, since all of the European HQ was on holiday. The pace of work dramatically slowed for us too. I make $106,000 per year. I'm not bragging and feel fortunate to have earned and been blessed with the attributes that have allowed me to get this position. I make $2,049 per week. I bring home $1,572 per week after paying for taxes, private health care, and retirement benefits. $1,572 per week is plenty, but I also pay $2,500 per mo for my mortgage, $200 per mo for insurance for 2 cars, $400 per mo for speech for my daughter, $300 per mo for electric, $200 per mo for water, $250 per mo for internet and cell phones. That's not to mention gas and food. Both are significantly bills each month. And I'm here working for €350 a month, which equals to 2K a year, so I'm literally dying for your 19K LMAO. Salaries in the US are usually higher in the private sector than in Europe. Furthermore, Americans pay less taxes and need to use their salary in order to have Social Security. Here in Europe, it's very common that people in the public sector earn a lot more than those in the private sector. For what reason ever. Here in Luxembourg, for example, the difference is pretty big. While even engineers often only get about 36K minus 42K as their first salary, before tax, they receive about 78K as their first salary in the public sector. Bus drivers also earn about 30K per year in private sector, but get about 50K in the public sector, even 80K at the end of their career, while working less hours. Also, the salaries of people in the public are rising every 2 years. A lot of people here only earn the minimum salary despite of their uni degree. Unless you are IT, medical sector, etc. That's why we have a risk of poverty of about 23%. Most people don't earn over 50K in Europe. In fact, it's only a minority. And let's not forget that Reddit is a filter bubble. I've noticed it too. Might be that the only people talking about work and money on Reddit are ones who don't have any money, or value it more than most people. I've noticed there's basically just 2 types of money talkers on Reddit. 1. Minimum wage worker struggling paycheck to paycheck. 2. STEM, finance bro making $100,000 a year at age 24. You have to remember that in the US our salary isn't what we take home. I make around 100K a year as a nurse, and had to work up to this point over many years and have a ton of student debt. And I probably only bring home 60K. We have to deduct health, dental, vision, and life insurance, state taxes, federal taxes, Social Security. Plus many of us need to contribute to a 401k to ensure we will be able to afford to live after retirement. It's sad when a paycheck comes in and upwards of 40% of it is money you never see. Reddit has a very disproportionately high population of tech workers in very high cost of living cities. The median household, not individual, income in the USA is only something like 60K. And most people don't live in the San Francisco Bay Area. Yet you're very likely to encounter a software engineer working for Google or Facebook making tons of money on here compared to an auto worker from Detroit. 90% of people on the internet are liars. America does have one of the highest median annual incomes in the world, but Reddit consists of more tech people than average, and they tend to make more money than average, so the comments are skewed to people with even higher incomes. Throw in the Reddit demographic that is full of BS and you get even more claims of $100,000 plus incomes. right? I make like 23.5k a year. I think it's worth mentioning that there are drastically different costs of living throughout the country, and as a result the same professions will pay more, less in each area as a result. For example, someone who makes 100k a year in a state like Mississippi or Louisiana would be pretty well off and be able to buy a home. But somebody who made as much in California would likely only be doing okay and have to rent a modest apartment. If you live in America, you would probably make more than 19k working full-time at McDonald's.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Aircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.